More than 13 years ago, on June 4th, 2010, Happy Wheels was released worldwide, and it remained pretty popular for years after its release. A lot of YouTubers loved playing it and a lot of their audience loved watching them play it. So with that being true, you might be asking yourself, what happened to Happy Wheels then? And while you might think the answer is something like, oh well, no one wanted to watch anymore, it got boring, and that's that. It does actually go a little bit deeper than that, so sit back and watch this video and I'll explain to you what really happened to Happy Wheels. But before we get to that, I need to let you guys know who the top 4 YouTubers were who played this game. I'm talking Pewdiepie.
Whoa! Holy shit! No, not up, down. No, stop spitting, please! Oh no.
Jacksepticeye.
I'm out over them. I f***ing am! Sweetness! No, go away! Go away! Where am I? What happened?
Markiplier.
It's all that experience, you know. You need good ball handling skills to get far in life.
And Tobuscus.
Oh, my mayonnaise! Oh, I lost my mayonnaise and my leg! But more importantly, my mayonnaise.
Now for those of you who know, Tobuscus has a little bit of a spotty history, so at this point it's kind of one of those names that you have to be careful bringing up because no one really wants to hear from them anymore. Which is unfortunate because this is how I found out what Happy Wheels was, through Tobuscus. And if you don't know what Tobuscus did, well, let's just say he was sticking his hammer in holes that didn't belong, so we'll keep it at that. But let's get back to the subject at hand. What was Happy Wheels? Imagine it like this. It was a 2D platformer, akin to Roblox in a way where you had a bunch of users create the levels that everyone was going to play, and the level ideas that people made were really entertaining ideas. You had stuff like a spike fall, where you'd be riding in a wheelchair or on a Segway, trying to fall into this hole where the spikes get closer and closer and closer as you fall. There was also another style called pogo jumping, where it was just either an increasingly higher or more dangerous wall that you had to jump over with a pogo stick. Usually when people made these levels, they'd started off with something like Justin Bieber. The next level would be an infant with no arms, which always made me laugh because back in the day Justin Bieber was just hated so much that he was assumed to be less functional than a baby with no arms. There's a game called Bottle Run where you'd have these boosters that would try to shoot you at a high speed, and if you could perfectly time the bike you'd be able to drive over this bottle bridge as it collapses underneath you. Those were always cool to watch. There was ones called Don't Move where it would literally just throw you around the map like crazy, and if you hit a single button you'd be annihilated in a second.
Oh my god! Oh! Are they not recording? Are you recording, Crickshaw?
But one of my favorites was Sword Throw. Now this game was a game where you'd pick up a sword that was left on the side and just try to throw it at people. I mean, it was a great concept. At the end of the day, it was just one of those games that I love playing the most. But essentially, if your creativity was endless, then the possibilities were endless with this game. You could make whatever you wanted. It was crazy. So with all that said, and all the endless possibilities, what went wrong? Well, eventually, over time, Pewdiepie did stop playing the game. Now this was one of the first big hits to Happy Wheels, and I mean, with Pewdiepie out of the picture, most of Happy Wheels viewership had already gone out the window. Pewdiepie was the most subscribed YouTuber at the time, and because of that, his audience held a lot of precedence over what game was popular. It definitely was a mix between getting tired of the game and also just not having a lot of people watching it for Pewdiepie that got him out, but there was still general interest in the game. That's why Jacksepticeye, Mark, and Tobuscus held on to it for a little bit longer. But then we had the Tobuscus scandal. I recommend you watch some old Keemstar videos about what happened to fully get the grasp of it, but basically this also took another hit to Happy Wheels. I'd even venture a guess to say that even with Tobuscus being severely under Pewdiepie's subscriber count, he still had a pretty similar viewership watching him play Happy Wheels. So when the scandal went down, a lot of people naturally didn't even want to see any more Tobuscus videos in general, including Happy Wheels. That was a second big hit for Happy Wheels, but we did still have Jacksepticeye. At this point, I kind of lost track of what Markiplier was doing because I'm gonna be real, he didn't have too much impact on Happy Wheels' popularity. Now listen, I'll give him FNAF, alright? He definitely probably was the main person to make FNAF famous, but Happy Wheels just wasn't his game. So if you were a Happy Wheels fan at this point, you had one more option left, Jacksepticeye. And this isn't a bad option. I mean, Jacksepticeye's a great YouTuber. I watched him as a kid all the time, and he's a really genuine person. At one point, I'd really love to meet him, but I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. But we'll see. And as time went on, I mean, you could probably already guess what happened. Jack did get a little bored of the game. But the thing with Jacksepticeye and Happy Wheels is that it wasn't the only game that he played. Granted, none of the other YouTubers stuck with only Happy Wheels, but the way that Jack played Happy Wheels was just not enough for the people who wanted to watch it. So with Pewdiepie gone, Tobuscus being pretty much shunned from the face of YouTube, and Jacksepticeye rarely uploading footage of Happy Wheels, it did start to go down in popularity. And at a certain point, when Jack stopped uploading, it was an entire halt to the game's popularity. I mean, with no one else making content in the mainstream, it was very hard for people to connect with the game. It had run its course. But a few years ago, after not seeing any Happy Wheels content come from any of these guys in years, we had finally started to see them get back to their roots and try Happy Wheels for maybe the last time ever before putting the rose in the casket. It was a beautiful thing if you were a Happy Wheels fan, to finally see the game that you grew up watching and playing be properly put to rest. Now don't get me wrong, although the game might not have an audience anymore, you could still play it. It's still up right now on Total Jerkface. That's the website. And it definitely did have its time like most games. So to try to compete further with Minecraft and GTA, it just wasn't gonna be able to do it. It had its time and it was getting old. But now I think it's officially time to say goodbye to Happy Wheels.